Welcome, computer application students. It is I, Xander, your professor, and this is the Introduction to Tech Tools number 2, Microsoft Word. This project is designed to be done individually. Its purpose is to get you familiar utilizing Microsoft Office Word and to get a nice pre-formatted APA-style paper. In this project, though, you will have a problem if you do not utilize the desktop version of Microsoft Word. That would be the one that you actually have to open on the desktop like this. Boop. Down here. Down here. Word. Or possibly on the desktop as an icon around here as well. The online version of Microsoft Word, the one that we get through My Red Dragon, the SharePoint, this one, this version of it, it's not so good. It has some of the functions, and yes, you can certainly use this to start your project, but it won't have everything that you need in order to actually finish this project. You do need to have it on your computer, and you need the file that it creates too. There is the ability to open things with the desktop version of Microsoft Word through the online one. You might be able to download it, but I'm not sure that it downloads the entire version because I've already purchased it, and so I don't actually know what happens when you click the Open with Desktop app or Download Desktop app version button on here. So not so good. But I can start it on this, and that's the, so you go through OneDrive, SharePoint here, that version of Microsoft Word right there. Not so good. Doesn't do everything. Okay. To complete this project, you have to do 25 tasks in Microsoft Word. For each task, you need to comment how to do the task. You need to also tell me in a comment, where did you learn how to do that? And put into that comment a properly formatted in-text citation. Now, if you don't know how to do that, and also even if you do know how to do that, I want you to use the Bibliographic Manager built into Microsoft Word, the desktop version. It has the ability to add in-text citations and build your bibliography for you so that you don't have to. It also remembers all those things so that you can use them again. Oftentimes in school, when I was an undergraduate and a grad student, I had papers that I wrote that I referred to some of the materials that I had previously written about in another paper. So, let's go over what you have to do. The first thing you do is you make yourself a document in general, just a new blank document in whichever one of these you want to. Now that's going to generate a docx file. On the desktop version, it will save it to your documents folder by default. In the online version, it's going to save it to your OneDrive, and it'll call it document 1. In here, we're going to first add comments. That's the very first thing. Hey, look, a comment. There it is. By adding in a comment, you see it puts my name there. It puts my name there because that's the metadata attached to this file. So I know who worked on this Microsoft Office document right here because once you start putting in metadata, like your name, it starts automatically filling it in on the outside of the document. Once you put in a comment, you got to tell me how you put in a comment. So in that comment, in a comment chain I have here, I have how you put in a comment. Additionally, how do you get citations with the in-text citation tool from where you learned how to add comments and where you learned how to add in-text citations. If you've taken a class before, you can say that you knew how to do that from a previous class, and therefore you're the source. I want you using these tools so that you're better acquainted with writing a paper. In academia, this is how we communicate. This is how you get big ideas from one person to another. you've got to explain how to do all these things. In lieu of buying a $130 course card, you're going to do it using the best tool that humanity has ever produced, the internet. It has everything on it. Why should we pay for this information? On the right-hand side, same thing. You can put comments over there, but you cannot add bibliographic citations because there's no Bibliographic Citation Manager. In the desktop version, in the References tab, we have all these extra tools. The online version is kind of lacking in most of these functions. After we've started this thing up, and we need to start putting some information on here. Now, an APA-style paper starts off with a title, just 4 or 5 spaces down, but then you center, you make it bold, it has to be black. However, I want you to utilize the title field. A field is a pre-done stamped piece of information about your document. It's part of the metadata, like putting your author name in there or the date that it was last created or modified. These things are appended to the outside of the document. This is actually how us librarians, by the way, I'm a librarian. This is actually how us librarians actually look at documents, books, articles. We don't want to read the whole thing. We have to summarize it and categorize it and bring it to the people who are looking for that information. So we create metadata. You do too. So here, in the desktop version, I'm able to put my title field here and format it properly, as I've asked for it. Then I have to have a comment for that to say, how do I do that? In the online version, I can't do that. I can put it centered, bold, and in title case, but it's not the title field. Next, I want to see the author field. In an APA style paper, you have your title, and it's bigger and bold and black. You have a space, then you have the author's name. However, the online version does not have fields. I do want you to put the author field. What you might find is when you click on that spot, then click on the button that puts the field in for author, it will automatically put your name in there. You wouldn't have to type it. The same reason why it's up there in the comments with my name is why it's here in the author field. After that, it's pretty simple stuff that you just type out, no special fields. So it's the department and college, the class and its number and name, and then when is the project due. Then we put in a page break. Now in the online version, it's going to do it like this. It abbreviates it, makes everything smaller. In the desktop version, it's going to give us the notice of the page break. This is actually, I prefer it this way. It's easier to see things. When you add that page break, you've got to tell me how you did it. You got to put it in a comment. Also, what's the keyboard shortcut to add a page break? It's a combination of keys on the keyboard when you're typing things up that will put one in for you. The header. You can do this in both the online and desktop version. You need to put into a header, not a heading, a header, the page number on the right-hand side. It needs to automatically add those page numbers. If you just type 1 here, 1 will show up on every page. It doesn't automatically cycle up. And if you go to the next page and write the number 2, it will change it to the number 2 there. So you've got to put in how does it actually add page numbers. This can be done in both of them. There's an automatic function that does this for you. Add it, explain it, source it. Next, we have to have the abstract. The abstract has to be titled, so I need the word abstract placed in the center, bold and black. Then I'd put in an abstract. Now I don't need to describe to you what an abstract is. This is not a writing class. This is a how to put Microsoft Word into use class. So here it is. I put in the abstract. How did I make it there? I got to say that. Got to put it, in the middle and stuff. Make it different. Then I drop in the page break. In both versions, you can add a table of contents. However, if you add in the table of contents right now, you'll find that it doesn't have anything in it. It will then pop up a little blurb, little error message on the screen that says, in order to add a table of contents, first select blah, 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 blah. It'll kind of tell you what to do, so I'm not going to tell you what to do. But don't be disturbed that it doesn't have anything in it. Just give it a little space, add a page break, and we'll come back to this to populate it later. Then we get into the body of the paper. This is the part where you actually talk about the things you're supposed to talk about. We have to start off with an introduction. So we put the word introduction, thusly. However, the word introduction will need to be formatted specially in a heading style in order for the table of contents to populate. But by default, Microsoft Word makes that heading blue and on the left. It is bigger, that's helpful, but it's supposed to be a very specific way with an APA style formatted paper. So you got to change that. You have to put it in the center. In the center, you have to make it black. It has to be bold. That's your standard for protocols. Except in the online version, you can't change the style of a heading 1 or 2 or 3 in order to make it be like that by default. It'll always try to go blue on you. So you're going to have to do it in the desktop app to modify the heading style for heading 1 and heading 2. Then apply it to the word introduction. It has to be centered, bold, black font. Don't forget to do it twice. Modify the style, apply it there, and apply it there. Then tell me, how do you do that? And where did you learn how to do that? Do it again, modify heading style 2, apply it here. It has to be over to the left, bold, black font. And it'll be slightly smaller font size by default, which it's supposed to be. Next, add a bulleted list. Here they are, 3 bullets. Then tell me how to do that. Really simple stuff. Bulleted lists are nice because they list stuff for you quickly. They're not supposed to be sentences. They're not supposed to have punctuation, really. They are quick ideas. Pop them out. And little tip, they take up a huge amount of space. So if you've got to write a 10-page paper, a bulleted list is a pretty good way to take up some space. So the next one, you got to put in a picture. Picture, picture. If you look at this at the online version, it's weird. It doesn't sit correctly. The desktop version actually positions quite nicely. You have to set the positioning style to be square so that the text wraps around it. I want the text to be to the right of the picture. Additionally, you have to set the picture to be no bigger than 2 inches on either direction. So you have to change that. This might mean you need to lock the aspect ratio of the picture when you insert it and change its size. You need to also describe how to do this. So you have to put the picture in, then you have to lock the aspect ratio, change its size, explain how to add the picture, how to position the picture so that there's text wrapping going square around it. Then you got to give it a caption. The online version does not have captions for either pictures or tables. It does not have that functionality. So you have to do this with the desktop version. Captions are how you describe a picture and also cite where did it come from. In this case, I took the picture myself and I'm the source. I put that into the Bibliographic Manager and I inserted the in-text citation here as well. The captions for all things in an APA style paper go above. This is a picture, so it goes as a figure, not a table or equation, so it would be figure 1. Don't forget to add text wrapping so that the text lies to the right. Then you can put in a page break. You may actually just go to the next page. It might happen that way. I tried to position this nicely so it fits in a nice square area. It's going to look weird on the online version, but if you download it from the online version and put it into the desktop, it fixes most of the problems. The bibliography. Can't do it with the online version. It does not have a bibliographic manager, but this is how you get the actual points in mind. It has to be done with the Bibliographic Manager, the References tab of the desktop version of Microsoft Word. It's right up there. You have to use the Bibliographic Manager, you have to use the in-text citation tool, and you have to utilize the bibliography tool. You also need to set it to APA style. Then, you have to comment it. Now, we're going to put in an appendix. In APA style papers, especially big ones, we tend to put our figures and our tables and our equations into an appendix after the bibliography. This section is added in so that people can actually get a better look at your materials. It has to be labeled, well, it's heading 1 style. You've already modified it, so it should be correctly formatted at this spot. Then, we're going to put in a table. I want you to put in a table and make it look pretty. That's a requirement. This can be done on both versions. This is a table of cells, like an Excel spreadsheet type table, not a table of contents. So you can put in a table, make it 4 by 4. You can make it bigger if you want to. It doesn't really have to have anything in it. I just want you to be able to insert a table. That's sort of the point. Then I want you to style that table. I don't want you to manually do it, like going in and clicking on each one of these cells and adding color to it. I want you to utilize the pre-done styles. Set it to the grid style and make it pretty and have alternating colors and all that kind of stuff. Put some words in here, or letters or numbers or something. Put in a caption. Cannot be done in the online version. You've got to use the desktop version. Table caption goes above. If it had any important information in it, then you could put some citation to it. Of course, you need to actually describe how to do all these things. How do you add a table? How do you change its style? How do you add the caption? Finally, this is something you do in pretty much every document editing program. Put in the word note and in italics and describe how you change just one word in a sentence. That's it. Of course, all these instructions are on my website, and it's probably a little bit easier to read. It can be bigger. Optional components. I like to have extra credit in my stuff, and I want you to play with this technology. You can't break it. You're not going to destroy something. But being able to manipulate it so that you can create quality papers to communicate to your teachers the information and ideas that you've absorbed, which is the whole point of going to college, having experiences, doing things, learning things. Put in some optional stuff. Make your own bullets for the bulleted list. Don't forget that you have to put in the instructions. So it's another comment, and in that comment you have to say, how do you change the bullets to be a picture of your face or something like that? And then where did you learn how to do that? Some of these are pretty simple. Some of these are a little bit more complex. But they're extra credit. So you can really jack your grade up. I can give you higher than 100%, and I'm glad to do so. Thematic ideas. People get really hung up on the idea that I'm just giving you free reign. This can be on anything you like. In fact, nothing at all. If you noticed in my version of Tech Tools number 2 here, most of the words were total gibberish. I just took the keyboard and smacked my face against it to get some stuff. Because I'm not actually reading it. I'm looking at the formats. I'm looking at the comments. That's where I learn how you learned how to do the thing. That way I can give you a grade. So if you need some ideas as to what your topic should be about, give me excruciatingly specific instructions on how to sit in a chair. Pretend that I'm not a human. That's not too hard. And then tell me how to make my human body function. Of course, don't be obscene. We are, academic. We are real professionals here. Finally, do not email this to me. I don't want you to clog up my inbox with your emails. You're going to download this item. If you've started it on the online version, you're going to save it to your desktop and put it on your Weebly. Now, I did go over this in the Weebly video, and hopefully in class with you, on how to add items to your Weebly. To go over it real quick, this is what you do. If you're beginning with your Microsoft Word online document, and then you're going to change it on a computer, like say you use one of the school's computers, or you get the desktop app, hopefully for free, you need to download it to that computer as a file, as an actual thing that could be put onto a thumb drive, put into an email, not as a link. So you have to save it. We start by going to File, then Save As. Save As allows us to change the style of the file, what kind of program would open it, but it also allows us to choose the location where we're going to save it. I'm going to download a copy. Do you want to download a copy of this file and work offline? Yes! I'm using Chrome right now and it's downloaded it. It's set it to the Downloads folder. Ooh, Show in Folder. Hey, look, Downloads folder. There's that file. That's what I need to send to Weebly. So I gotta log into Weebly. Log in. Hey, don't look at this. This is the dashboard. Now I'm in the Build menu. On the left-hand side, File. Click here to upload file. Upload file from my computer. In the Downloads folder, there it is. Pacow. Hey, look, I got a file. Don't forget to publish. Publish. Now, I have a website that I can go to that really has the file on it. Forget to update that table of contents, otherwise it won't show stuff. Just a click on it. That's it. Tech Tools number 2, Word. How to get a good APA-style formatted paper. You can use this thing over and over again. Just change the words to real words instead of glorp and Fleminsmart. There's only 25 tasks to do. It's really, really easy to get 100 on this and then do extra credit and get 120 on it. Have fun, and I hope to see you in class. Who speaks anymore? Nobody speaks anymore. Nobody speaks anymore. I've forgotten how to do that.